Hi, I'm astrologer Penny Dix. Welcome to another Astrobite. And the one today is for Friday, April the 4th. And we've got some rather interesting energy around us at the moment. It's been already in play, so we're already feeling this energy. And I think it's been around really since the beginning of April. And of course, we're only just into April. But what it is Saturn, our planet of boundaries, restrictions, our planet of wisdom, tradition, in Pisces. And Pisces, of course, is all about the numinous and spirituality and the imagination. And Saturn has Saturn has the advantage in Pisces of finding a way to exercise a little bit more creativity in how it exerts its very structured symbolism and influence. Now, Saturn is sextiling Uranus in Taurus, and today it's exact at 24 degrees and 55 minutes. Now, Uranus in Taurus, Uranus is the planet of the unexpected, shocks, sudden events. In Taurus, it can be to do with the financial world. And I'm sitting here wondering on the 2nd of April, which is the day I believe is being called Liberation Day or Freedom Day for the United States. I'm wondering what has unfolded in the last couple of days since whatever was going to be made public has come out into the open, because certainly it's causing disruption. And it's interesting because in the event chart, what we're seeing is Uranus in the 9th house. So from my perspective in universal time, this is about matters at a distance. This is about something happening, in a far distant land, which of course for me it is. But not only is Uranus sextiling Saturn, but Uranus is also being sextiled by Mars in Cancer. And in turn, Mars in Cancer is trining Saturn in Pisces. Let's just unpack this kind of little mini trine, because it is important energy. There's something here very much about how the planet is going to process the uncertainty, the shifts and movements in the world economy, which are, of course, giving people the jitters. However, my feeling is, and I know I said this yesterday in yesterday's Astrobite, because we're dealing with sextiles and a trine, my feeling is that ultimately, whatever it is that unfolds will work out for all of us for the better in some way. And that maybe what it's teaching us is a little bit of individual independence, a little less reliance on kind of the big government to solve all our problems and make everything okay, and for us to actually take a little bit more responsibility for our own situation. Because we're at the beginning, definitely, with Neptune's move into Aries, of a very new kind of awareness of the way the world is going to be progressing forwards. And there's something here about the need to pull together, for society to pull together, society to nurture itself and to nurture each other individually. I feel with this energy that just there's a gradual but a meaningful change. So that even though Uranus can be about quite sudden shocks and transformations or breakthroughs, this time it's a little bit more gentle, so that we have the time, which Saturn brings in, the timing for a steady change, for almost like a breakthrough in slow motion, so that the effects of what has been happening on the world stage don't feel quite so chaotic, but more that they are well-timed and ultimately beneficial. Now, obviously, this depends a lot on how the world markets react to whatever has been unfolding over the last few days. And certainly at the time of recording, which is on the 2nd of April, the markets, of course, are going down. And that's to be expected because they don't like uncertainty. And of course, what is coming out of the United States is uncertainty for the whole planet and for the American people. So, they don't know how this is going to affect them either. And so my feeling is that what may, to begin with, seem like a really big breakdown will ultimately be a positive breakthrough. And that by the time Mars moves into Leo towards the end of the month, then it'll be coming up to oppose Pluto in Aquarius, and that's going to bring in the energies we had at the beginning of November 2024 around the US election, and also, and I can't remember what was happening around the beginning of the year in January. Now, how does it affect us on a personal level? Because I think what we have to do is see the bigger picture with this energy. Don't get bogged down in the detail. Don't get caught in Virgo energy, which is the opposite sign to Pisces, where Saturn is. Don't get bogged down in the Virgo pedantic looking at all the small print and the finer details, and actually have some Pisces faith that maybe, even though it all seems a bit gung-ho, maybe it'll actually be okay. Because there will be other elements going on for us that will counterbalance whatever it is that is seesawing, seemingly out of balance. Remember, we have a full moon in Libra this month on the 14th. That is going to bring back in balance and harmony. So it's going to be much more equal. And I think we will see economic and technological shifts with this energy. But because of Saturn's presence, there will be the structure and the responsibility to rethink how to move forward in a sustainable way. And maybe what this will be forcing finance ministers around the world and finance directors of big companies will be to rethink their whole way of how they operate their financial systems. So maybe on a personal level, it's about looking at how do we manage this on a personal level? Well, I think I said it earlier, by taking responsibility. We have to look at how we take care of our personal piggy bank, as I call it. How can we ensure its growth? How can we make certain that we are providing enough for our future without detracting from our quality of life. Because ultimately, it's about finding the balance, the harmony, and the flow. And remember, Uranus, that is at the kind of pivotal point of this mini trine, is about waking up. So that the world is going through this awakening process. And whether we like it or not, it's happening. And it doesn't really make any difference which side of the fence your politics fall on, or whom you're for or whom you're against. We have to deal with the present, and we have to deal with the reality and not condemn it to the trash bin just because perhaps we don't like who's made the decision to do it. We have to just grow up a bit and think, okay, this is the deck of cards or the hand I've been dealt. How can I make this work? How can I play it to my best advantage? You see, this is the maturity of Saturn. And sometimes what happens with politics, with all of these kind of political games that go on, we all become kids in the playground. They're not in my group, I don't like them, bullying that group, all of that kind of stuff that goes on. What we have to do is take responsibility and grow up and say, okay, this is what's happening. How do I handle at least my own little world and the world that I affect? Because that is where my power is. My power, as you know, is in the present moment. How I choose my next step or my next decision will ripple down that timeline and the timelines of trillions of others to bring about the positive changes that we want. Because if we all decide to make this work in a positive way, how can we fail? And that goes on a personal level. Whatever it is that you are having to be more structured about in your life, be it relationships, career, your finances, your health, look at how you can find new ways to think outside the box, which is Uranus. Find different ways to take the next steps forward. So guess what the word for the day is? Awakening. I thought, oh yes, awakening, because this is what Uranus is doing. It's waking us up. And Deepak Chopra said, awakening is not changing who you are, but discarding who you are not. And there is a truth. Marcel Proust said, the real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. And that's an interesting one. The voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. And that's what I'm saying about what is unfolding in the world. We have to look at it with new eyes. Eckhart Tolle said again, you are awake when you realize you are not your thoughts, but the awareness behind them. That is one of the magnificent values of psychotherapy and self-awareness. The more we are aware of the power of our thoughts, the more able we are to be in charge of how we create our reality. Carl Jung, the Swiss analyst that I talk about regularly, said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. And you know, the darkness is the shadow. We have to look at how we cope with our own shadows, how we can be fully aware of that dark side of us, the destructive side, the self-destructive side, the negative side of us, how it gets in our way, how it blocks us from having what we want. Joseph Campbell said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And I think, and I'm sure many of you out there feel the same, I have been striving to do that every day of my life and will continue to do so. Carl Jung again said, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. And that's true. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. Thich Nhat Hanh said, enlightenment is when a wave realizes it is the ocean. Oh, that's beautiful. I like that. Ramana Maharshi said, your own self-realization is the greatest service you can render the world. And there's an unknown quote here which says, when the soul awakens, the search ends. I would say when the soul awakens, the search begins. And finally, another unknown quote, which is, awakening is not about getting better. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. Let's have that one again, because that's really important. Awakening is not about getting better. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. That says it all, doesn't it? Well, on that note, thank you so much for joining me for another Astrobite. I'll be back again soon. Please remember, like, comment and subscribe. And remember, if you want a session, please go to my website, pennydix.com. No booking system. Email me direct on penny@pennydix.com. I don't even have anyone who checks my emails. It's all me. It all comes to me. And I sort it all out. So on that note, thanks so much for joining me for this Astrobite. And I really look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye for now. Bye.